La 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 lo la 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 lo hey la 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 lo la 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 lo hey oh hey oh hey ah hey oh hey ah. Quand on était jeune chasseur, parfois pêcheur à 16 heures, il aimait beaucoup le rhum, mais n'était pas encore homme. Oh, eh, oh, eh, ah. Un jour allait au marché et rencontra une Zoé. Bien souvent il la voyait, mais ne l'avait courtisée. Oh, eh, oh, eh, ah. Antoine se mit à l'aimer, mais gardait ça en secret. Zoé le faisait tourner, elle savait qu'elle lui plaisait.
Welcome to part 2 of our Ireland special. We're going back to Laura Leith's house to interview her and more of her friends, and afterwards I will show you how you can find your family free in Ireland. Let's go. I want to thank you for having us in your home, and I want to find out some things about you. Tell me about what kind of career you had.
Oh, I had a very interesting and not very lucrative career. In that most of the time, most of the work I did was when I lived down in Palo Alto, and I worked in Silicon Valley. And Silicon Valley has this kind of a work thing where you get laid off here, and then you're hired, and everything's wonderful, and it comes back down, and you get laid off again. So
It hasn't changed much.
no. When I was in Seattle, I was a project manager for the company that's no longer there, and they were a manufacturing company, and that was probably the most satisfying job I ever had. It was really wonderful, and I did some event and workshops and coordinating. Those kind of jobs were the ones I liked, rather than the secretarial administrative.
What about your musical comedy career?
Oh, that was a blast. I started that when we, as a family, we were living in Nairobi, Kenya, and this was right after independence. And so that was pretty interesting because we could watch a whole nation being born. But I decided nobody would know who I was, so I went down for a tryout. And I got on the nuns chorus for The Sound of Music. And when you did a show there, you did it every night except Sunday nights and twice on Saturday for 3 weeks. They didn't fool around.
Didn't you tell me that backstage you lifted your wimples and you were refreshing yourselves?
Oh yeah, when we were on stage, the nuns chorus, we would put our wimples up on top of our head to get out of the way. We were knitting or crocheting and chatting away and drinking peach brandy.
Did the nuns chorus ever stagger onto the stage, or were you?
We did pretty well holding ourselves upright. Of course, we were never down there long enough to be able to imbibe enough to do that, I think.
Now, you said earlier that you'd had leads in several, was that in the United States?
I never had. No, I never had a lead. I was always a second banana.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I could have made a career out of being a character actress, I think.
What were some of the things that you enjoyed being in most?
Oh, let's see. I enjoyed them all, except the very last play I did. I didn't enjoy that one. We did How to Succeed in Business. We did A Streetcar Named Desire, which of course is not a musical. That was the first time I got a laugh just for me. And I came off stage and I asked everybody, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? And everybody's saying, you did just fine. They liked it.
So which part did you play in that?
I was the neighbor's wife.
Can you remember one of your lines?
Oh, God, no.
Oh, okay.
That's why I don't act anymore. I can't remember lines.
Now tell me about your comedic career.
Well, they were mostly all comedies. I did a few serious ones, but they were all music comedies. So, you know,
Did you sing and
it was
dance?
fun. I'm
Did
sorry.
you sing and dance?
Yes. Yeah. I used to have pictures of us, and I had the programs and everything. But when I left Eureka to come here, somebody stole my suitcase full of pictures.
Well, I don't think it was Gretchen. She's laughing though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why did you come to Skibbereen of all places?
I wanted to be near one of my boys, and the one lives just outside of Sacramento in Elk Grove, and that's too hot. And so I figured I'd come as close to France as I could, where the oldest one lives. But I needed a country that still I could still speak English, and the weather was a great deal like Eureka.
Do the people around you speak Gaelic at all?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Because Gretchen told me you were studying it.
Well, I went to one class.
Well, can you tell us something in Gaelic?
Absolutely not.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
I went to one class and I thought, I don't think I can manage this. I didn't do any more.
Now,
It's a very,
I'm sorry, your friend Janet, how did you meet her?
well, she just lives 4 doors down. We're in what they call a terrace.
Mm-hmm.
So that's adjoined houses, and there's 10 of us. I'm in number 8, and she's in number 3. And when I first got here, she was out working in her patio on all her various pots. She has wonderful flowers all over. And I introduced myself, and we've been having cuppas together ever since.
How long have you been in Ireland?
It'll be 3 years this coming September.
Now, how did you physically move your things, or did you get all new things when you moved there? How did you actually make the permanent transition to Ireland from where you were?
I sold everything except what I could get in 4 big suitcases.
Where were you coming
And
from?
I was very Eureka,
Oh, okay. I'm
California.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
4 big suitcases. And I was very, I don't know what I thought, because I was very fortunate to get a house that is fully furnished.
Oh, my.
Which I didn't expect. Yeah, I mean, there were, except for the linens and towels and what have you, but it had the dishes, the pans, the furniture was all brand new, and they just finished painting it. I was very, very fortunate.
Well, from what I can see, it looks like a nice place.
It is. It's a very nice place.
Now,
It's probably the nicest place.
your friend Nick couldn't come today. Could you tell us a little bit about Nick?
I don't know a whole lot about Nick because he's in that group with Roddy and I, but a couple of times we've been together at various music gatherings. He's part of the soon hopefully to be choir. He is with the group, and there's what's the name? The Happiness Group or something. But they have all kinds of very strange instruments, and he is very much into electronic instruments that I never heard of.
What would be his place in the choir?
He sings
Oh, that's right.
in
he said he sang.
yeah, he sings.
Could you please send me a copy of his music, and we'll play a little bit of it? Not right now, but
Yeah.
Has your family come to visit you in Ireland yet?
Oh yeah. Well, my son met me when I got to Dublin and drove me down here. And that was an experience. We both thought we had been online with various estate agents, and we walked into the place and said, "We're the Tomkos, and we've been online with you, and we'd like to see the houses we've been talking about." And we were informed that they had no connection with the website and had no.
Well, how did you find your place?
Well, as we're sitting there thinking I'm going to be in a B&B for the next month, we looked online. There's 2 lines for rentals, and we looked online on the other one that hadn't used, and the place I'm in had just come online. It was so,
And they
it
were
was
connected with that.
serendipity, what it was.
Now, about holidays, how is Halloween and Christmas different there in Ireland for you?
It's not.
Oh, it's the same then, pretty much.
Yeah. Before, when I was living in Wales, in Scotland, it was much more subdued. Okay, the celebration and what have you. But then, of course, that was years ago. But it's just about the same here. Everybody goes nuts shopping, and everybody goes nuts getting costumes and having parties.
Sounds pretty much the same.
It is.
Are there any local celebrations that you might want to tell us about that would be interesting?
Oh, hang up in the 1916 I can't pronounce that. 100 years.
Centennial?
1916 is when they went, the first expression of trying to be free. They went after the post office. Remember?
Oh, yes, in Dublin.
Reading about that?
Wasn't Michael Collins killed someplace around where you are?
Yes, he was. He spent his last night in the hotel, small hotel just down the road. And then he went off. I'm not sure where he was killed, but I just know that that's the big thing on the hotel, that Michael Collins spent his last night here.
How do people feel about Michael Collins there, or when they mention him?
They don't.
Oh, that's ancient history.
Yeah,
Now,
exactly.
did the recent movie Brooklyn play in your town?
Oh, yes.
Can you tell us about that and what happened?
I can't tell you. I can tell you first that it wasn't in our town. There's no movie here.
Oh, okay.
We have to go entry to see the movie. And for me, it was surreal because I'm in this theater full of Irish people, of which you could probably guess that 2/3 of them have somebody in the family that have emigrated. And I'm wondering, how is this movie affecting them? Because it was affecting me.
Well,
it was interesting.
We had tears in our eyes watching it here. It was so amazing.
Yeah.
Did you hear sniffles in there, or
now I have hearing aids.
Oh,
So I wouldn't hurt them.
Well, did you go and check and see if people were crying, if you can't hear?
I didn't walk up and down the aisle, no.
So you enjoyed the movie then?
I did. I didn't think it was Oscar caliber, but it was a good movie.
Yeah, I really liked it too. Is there anything you want to tell us that we haven't covered? Because we wanted to do this segment again so that we could see you and hear you. And
Oh, well, I wanted to tell you, shall I tell you the story about Apple Betty's again?
okay, yes.
Yeah. Apple Betty's is well, it's kind of like a tea shop, but then they serve food as well, and there are a number of them in town, and they're all very nice. Apple Betty's happened to be the one that my son and I, when we first came, would go and have breakfast in. And after I'd been here about 6 months or so, there was a big storm. My son tried to call me. He couldn't get through, and he called Apple Betty's to find out if everybody's phone was out or what was going on. And one of the women in Apple Betty's said, I'll go check. And she left the place. There was 2 of them there. She left, drove down here to check and see that I was all right and that it was the phone and not that I was ill. And then she drove back and called my son and told him I was fine.
How did you feel about that?
I was blown away. I thought that was probably the kindest, most thoughtful thing anybody had ever done.
Was it still during the storm that she came to your home?
No, it had calmed down by then, but we still didn't have our phones back.
That's a wonderful story. How would you characterize the town and its people? Gibbering.
Well, if I tell you that I have more friends than I ever had in California, because it's so easy to make friends. The people are so easy. I'm a blow-in. Anybody that isn't born and bred is a blow in.
Do you keep that category the rest of your life?
So, but it doesn't matter. Yep. I have a friend who came from Dublin 30 years ago, and she's still a blow-in.
Well, I was very impressed with your friends. Is there anything else you want to tell us?
Let's see. Oh, did I tell you about my book?
Yes, you did, and I'm going to look it up on the web. Sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have any pets?
No, I'm not allowed to have a pet, and I probably wouldn't have one anyhow because I couldn't afford all the vet bills.
Yeah, they can get pretty expensive.
Yeah, but right here on the river, we have across the river, there are tons of small seagulls and swans and cormorants and herons and egrets, but they don't come here. And I thought, wow, we're lucky we don't have all that droppings here. Well, the woman down in number 2 has 4 cats, and I think. So I think that's why the birds stay on the other side of the river.
Well, that's just charming. Is Gretchen coming to visit you in Ireland one of these days?
I don't know. Ask her.
Gretchen? Yes.
Okay. So I don't have to hold my breath.
Do you have an Irish joke?
Do I have an Irish joke? No, I don't. I'm very poor at jokes, so I try not.
I loved your biography, and I want to ask you some questions about it. Okay?
Sure.
The first question I want to ask you is, you said that you practiced law, that your family had been in the legal profession for 4 generations.
That's correct. Yes.
What categories were they in?
Sorry?
What in the legal profession were they?
Well, most have been solicitors, which would mean that they've dealt with commercial law, the estates of deceased people, property law, conveyancing, that would be what your realtors deal with, and general court work.
Now,
in the past, every solicitor was a jack of all trades. In more recent times, there has been a trend towards specialization.
you said that you did criminal law for a while. Is that correct?
Well, criminal law was what I really enjoyed doing.
And why did you enjoy doing that? You got a smile on your face when you mentioned the word criminal. I'm concerned here.
Well, I had, for several reasons. One reason, quite simply, is that quite often people who get into difficulties with the law are not criminals at heart, but are people who are pretty decent and have made a wrong turning. And as a solicitor, I liked, where possible, to get people like that and maybe, with the help of the court, redirect them back into a productive route.
That's good. Did you ever have any cases where they were just a dastardly criminal and that people were shocked at their crimes? Did you have anything like that?
I had, you may recall a case of Woodward in America, which dealt with a shaken baby syndrome case.
Oh, yes, yes.
I had the first Irish shaken baby syndrome case at the same time as Woodward. And I enjoyed dealing with that case because, again, it was a situation where somebody, i.e. the childminder, came under a lot of pressure through no fault of the child's, and regrettably mistreated the child slightly, or with serious consequences. However, because of the nature of the Irish criminal law and the way we're able to deal with things, that person was in police custody only for, I think, 3 hours in total. Did not go to jail. And the penalty prescribed was the sensible penalty of prohibiting her from looking after other people's children ever again.
But it didn't ruin her life then?
it didn't ruin anybody's life.
That's good. Now, you told me a story about your father defending about the stealing of candy, I believe.
That's
That
correct.
is a wonderful
Yeah,
story. Please elaborate.
well, many years ago, the practice in Ireland was that a shop counter was kept clear of all goods. You would go to the counter, you would ask the shopkeeper for what you wanted, they'd bring it to the counter and wrap it up, and you'd pay for it, and away you went. But with the introduction of marketing skills, the first thing to appear on the counters of small shops in Ireland was an open display of sweets, which were deliberately placed there to tempt whether adults or children to make an impulse purchase. My father felt this was totally inappropriate and bad practice, and had a case which involved a parent being prosecuted because his children had stolen sweets. And the case was so innocent that the police were able to trace the miscreant children by the trail of sweet wrappings that led from the shop back to their home. But my father objected, as I say, strongly
Did they arrest the child?
They questioned the child, and with parental supervision.
No guns drawn or anything.
Oh, well, we're in Ireland. We don't have guns.
Oh.
But usually the voice of the policeman in those days, at least, was quite sufficient. The father was prosecuted because of the leaning of the state in favour of the female, so the father had to take the blame. But my father objected, and the judge concurred with him that it was totally inappropriate behaviour for the shops to place goods on display in such a manner and thereby tempt the child to misbehave in a way that they couldn't realistically be expected to resist.
So did they change their policies? Did they move the things off the counter?
Oh no, this was commerce.
Did you have any more cases in the child sweet case?
No, nothing like that. But one of the last cases I dealt with involved dreadful corruption within the state, where people were charged with stealing a large truckload of spirits, that is alcohol, as distinct
Any
from the other
particular
kind.
brand?
I don't believe, certainly no particular brand was named anyway, but it turned out that the entire operation was a setup, an arrangement largely politically motivated to have an event on at a particular time. We won that, and I was pleased with that.
And how did they pay you? Did they pay you in kind or?
Oh, not at all, no. Interestingly, for the shaken baby case, in the shaken baby case I mentioned earlier, the newspapers here reported the fact that the American lawyers who represented Woodward were paid in excess of $1 million. They neglected to report that my firm were paid £75 for not having our client sent to prison.
Well, I think that you made out in that case. Now, you said that a lot of your family has come to the United States. Has this been generational or in your generation?
Oh, none in my generation, but let me get this correct now. My mother's uncle went to the States, as did his son, and my mother's sister went to the States. That's from one side, and then on the O'Regan side, there was one man went to the States, and there are now quite a few members of the family spread right across the States. That would be on the O'Regan side.
Now, you said in your email to me that last May an American O'Regan came to Skibbereen to meet you? The first person from your family?
That's correct.
Could you
Yes.
tell us about that,
Her
please?
name wasn't O'Regan, but we'll call her O'Regan. Yeah,
Oh,
we
okay.
call her O'Regan. I made contact. I made contact with a very nice lady who lives in Annapolis,
How did
and
you
she,
know about her?
through her family,
How did you know about
I
the
beg your
lady
pardon?
in Annapolis?
She phoned me.
Oh, okay.
Somebody died, and they found a scrap of paper with a reference in it. And curiously, through Facebook, they noticed the name, which my full name is fairly distinctive, and they tracked it that way. But anyway, the lady in Annapolis gave me access to a lot of information on the family, and I ended up making contact with the next lady, the lady who came to visit, who lives in San Diego. And she happened to be coming over because her son, who had completed several degrees in the States, was coming to Ireland to do a medical degree. And she came over to help him get settled.
What type of
and
degree
called to
did
see
you
us in
say?
the process. So he came to Ireland to do a medical degree in the College of Surgery. Yeah.
There was a little problem with the transmission. I thought you said he came to get a magical degree, and I thought, well, that's interesting.
Well, the same thing, really.
I want to thank you for that lovely photo you sent with your dog Tansy. That was beautiful. Could you tell us a little bit about Tansy?
Poor old Tansy, one of our youngest child has certain learning difficulties and autism and things like that. And Tansy was a dog who was given to him by an organisation in Ireland as a companion dog. And she was wonderful. She was a part of the family, but she provided him with a level of companionship that you could only get from an animal. That he relates to animals far better than he does to humans.
How old is your son?
He's 22 today.
Well, happy birthday to him. How many children do you have?
We have three others.
Three others, boys or girls?
The eldest is a boy, the next is a girl, and the third is a boy.
Do you think they're going to stay in Ireland?
Oh, yes.
Good.
Yes. Yeah. My daughter's husband was keen on perhaps going to Canada to work, but she had no problem with his going, but the children had to stay in Ireland.
I don't know what to say to that. But this would be a perfect place for a romance story. Tell me about how you and your wife met.
We met at a bus stop.
That is so romantic.
And the bus stop has been moved.
Because of you?
Who knows?
So were you going on the same bus?
No, I was walking in one direction to go to university, and she was walking in the other direction to go to secondary school.
Oh,
And
cradle
yeah,
robber.
we sorry?
Cradle robber.
Absolutely. She's a full 4 years younger than me.
So if you were going in different directions, how did you turn around and come the same direction eventually?
Well, eventually I found out who she was and then greeted her by name, and she responded by inquiring how I knew her name, and it went on from there.
How long did that take?
The initial process, I suppose, would have taken several weeks, but that was in 1980.
How soon were you married?
I beg your pardon, it wasn't in 1980. It was about 1975. 1975.
Did it take that long to marry her from 1975 to 1980?
We got married in 1979.
Oh, okay.
No, sorry, we got married in 1980. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was 1980. Yeah, but I was away studying for a lot of the time, so that's not an excuse. It's an excuse.
You seem like a very happy person, and I would really be surprised if you didn't know a good Irish joke.
Well, there was a meeting of linguists in Europe, And during their afternoon session on one Friday, they dealt in depth with the concept of mañana, which one finds in Hispanic countries. Afterwards, a few of them were friendly, went away for a meal, and during the meal they continued their discussions from earlier, and basically teasing out the niceties of the concept of mañana. And one of the company turned to the Irishman who was there and said, he asked if we had any similar concept in Ireland. To which the Irishman replied, "We have nothing quite that urgent."
Oh, that was choice. What do you do now as far as, you told me, but please tell our viewers what you like doing these days.
These days I like to do art, like photography, I like to walk a lot, spend time with my family and with the community.
What kind of art do you do?
The kind that people are too polite to hand back.
I know my husband's an artist. We have that factor at our home sometimes. What do you see the future of Ireland as from your point of view?
Ireland has a huge future if the people continue to do what they have been doing, which is basically ignoring the government and getting on with their own lives. In Skibbereen, Gerald mentioned that we now have the Ludgate Centre about to open, which is a huge opportunity for Ireland to offer expatriates a space where they can live and run their business anywhere in the world from. It's a high-end communication centre, which will allow somebody who's operating a company in California to have their breakfast in Skibbereen and go to the office and never have to leave home.
It sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's a great idea, and the really positive thing about it is that it's spawned by a group of local business people who have deliberately kept politicians and their ilk away from it.
Ah, it has a chance then.
Exactly so.
Now, how about telling us some things about Laura Lee that she wouldn't tell about herself?
It has huge integrity.
Okay.
I beg your pardon, you faded there.
Can you tell us a little bit about Laura Lee?
A little bit about Laura Lee.
Not more than an hour's worth.
You can't tell a little bit about Laura Lee.
Well,
she is at least she's exponentially greater than her mass. She's the kind of person who it's like meeting somebody with 18-year-old eyes, but the rest is a little older.
Well, I saw those 18-year-old eyes. They're very beautiful. What do you two and the rest of you do together?
We're working on a project, an urban explorer project, where we're looking at the town and forming opinions about aspects of it and working towards an artistic expression of those.
How wonderful. We've been looking on the internet, and it's such a beautiful town and such a beautiful location.
Yes, and I heard you ask Gerald about something he would recommend in the town, but I would mention, if I were asked, a different place, which is called Lochine, just outside the town. And it is remarkable in that it is believed to have been continuously occupied by humans since the late Bronze Age, and is an absolutely amazing place, wonderfully scenic, wonderfully endowed by nature, and it's a major centre of marine research.
Sounds very interesting.
As well. Fabulous place. It's called Loughyne, and that is spelled Loughhyne. It's a tidal lake, which, when it originally would have been a freshwater lake, but the sea invaded and changed the ecology completely. We get quite a few visitors from American universities coming to study it.
Sounds very, very interesting. What would you say characterizes the people of your town more than anything else? The actual residents, not the tourists.
Not the blow-in.
The indigenous people in the town are people who, I would say, regardless of their monetary strength, have an extraordinary spirit that supersedes anything of a modern origin. People would be far more interested in your person than in your position. They don't want to know what you have. They do like to know what you do, and they do like to see what you are. So that if you're there to help, if you're there to be kind, you're okay. But if you're there just to say how wonderful you are, you're nobody.
Well, thank you all so much for this. I just feel overawed with your spirit and your stories and your joke. I've got to keep that in my joke reservoir. That's a very good joke. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our audience?
Well, I would like to tell you that you have some wonderful computer resources available in Portland, Oregon. Most of the software that I use is produced by small companies in Portland. My little cousin is a great hairdresser in Portland, if you ever feel the need and you're in the area. So it's a good part of the country.
Well, great. Could you, I want to thank you again. Could you put... Wasn't it wonderful to talk with Laura Lee and her friends? Now we're going to go to the computer and I will show you how to find your family free on the internet. Now I want to show you how to find your Irish family for free. First, let's go to Family Search Learning Center. Let's put it up here. The reason I want you to go there is they have free courses on Irish history and Irish sources, along with a lot of other countries. Let's go down to Ireland here, and you can see for yourself there are 14 free lessons. They're getting started, immigration records, church records, Irish Catholic Church records, census and census substitutes, Irish civil registration, Ireland immigration, Ireland Presbyterian Church records, Irish immigration to North America before, during, and after the famine, Irish Protestant church records, more Irish than the Irish themselves, the Hiberno-Norman families. All these lessons are free, and they vary in length from 16 minutes to an hour. The ones that I prefer myself are the ones by a lady named Ava. She does this series here on beginning immigration parts 1, 2, 3. And in that, she helps you develop a strategy personalized to your family situation. Let's go to the first lesson here by Ava. And I want to show you, down here it says class handout. Most of these lessons have handouts, and I would highly suggest that you click on the handout and print it out before you start the lesson. Now, you can also go back to the handouts and click on any one that's listed in blue, and then it goes straight to it. Now, the first 3 lessons on Irish immigration have the same handout, but let me show you when we go down to one of Ava's next lessons on church records. Again, handout. And look at all the many sources that she gives you. So they're just an absolute wealth of information. The formats are different on some of these. Some of these you just hear a lecture, some you actually see pictures, but they're all very valuable. Now I'd like to share another really good Irish source, and I've used this in other episodes, but let me put this up. Find a grave. Now, why would this be of particular interest to Irish? Because the Irish had a peculiar thing where they liked to put information about where they came from on their stone. Now, I'm going to choose the name Bridget Murphy because I saw this stone when I was on a trip to San Francisco one time in the Mission Dolores Cemetery, and it so impressed me I wanted to share it with you. So let's put Bridget's name up here. Bridget Murphy. Now, the country is the United States, the state is California, and the county is San Francisco. I already told you it was in the Mission Dolores Cemetery, so let's look for that. Here we go. Let's put in Murphy. It should have given me Bridget's name, but we'll just go and put in Murphy here. Okay. All right, Bridget, she's right at the top here. Let's go and look. Now, this stone is amazing because it has multiple names on it. There is John Hart and his wife Anna. There is Patrick Murphy and his wife Bridget. Now, if you look at this closely, John Hart, Anna, and Bridget all came from County Meath, but Patrick came from County Armagh. So it would seem a logical conclusion, since they're all on the same stone, that they're related family. Are Bridget and John brother and sister? Are Bridget and Anna sisters? We don't know. But let's see some of the information. Now, I printed off a copy of this stone, and I could read what it said about John Hart. Let me share this with you because it's very touching. It says, native of Meath, Ireland, may his soul rest in peace. Amen. Farewell, dear friends, my time is past. I loved you, dear, while life did last. Now I'm dead, no sorrow take, but love my children for my sake. What a wonderful Irish heart this man had. So check out every relative of yours you know of Irish descent. It isn't always Irish, but the Irish, more than any other group, likes to put information on their tombstone of their place of origin. The next thing I want to show you is how you can contact living people. Now, we're talking about deceased people here on the tombstone, but let's see how we can contact relatives that might still be living in Ireland. One of the very best sources for this is Ruth's Web, and let's find this. It's put out by Ancestry.com, but there's no charge for this. Let's see, we'll go along the list and message boards. This is how you use the message board. You look for your specific family name, and then you look in categories by localities, and then they've got other subjects that you can find. You put in your name, you put in your category, and then you go for, here's United Kingdom and Ireland right here. Let's see. They have 7 boards. Well, actually, they have 32 boards. And I have known several people have met people from either side of the pond and have actually gotten together with very touching results. So try the message boards next. Then I want to tell you about a wonderful site. If you've made it back to Ireland and you know where your people are, or if you are in Ireland and want to know more about your people that live there, try this site, Ireland Genealogy IE. Let's look for Ireland Genealogy IE. Here it is right here, and it is an incredible, again, free site. Now you have your choice of church records, civil records, research in Ireland, and useful links. They're all free. Let's go to church records first. I'm going to type in the name. I usually use John Jones in all my other episodes, but since we're in Ireland, let's use Patrick Murphy. I'm going to put in Patrick Murphy here. I'm not going to put in a location because we're just looking for Patrick Murphys in general, even though Ava told us not to. But I just want to do a point here to get on here. I have to put the CAPTCHA. Let's see if I got it right. Yes, I did. Oh, no, I didn't. I have to try it again. Sometimes these are tricky. All right, now here, the first one at the top is Patrick Murphy and Mary Sullivan. So let's just look at their record. It says Patrick Murphy married Mary Sullivan. It gives the name of both of the people's parents, father and mother. Here's the fathers of both. Here's the mothers of both. It gives the priest. It gives the witnesses. And it also gives the date and place. And so there you have a very good document, and you could go and match up the place of your ancestors. Let's go back and just check out civil records. Now they have the same type of information, a little different time period, but you can choose birth, marriage, or death there. So you can be specific. All right, let's go back now to research in Ireland. This is a very valuable section here. And again, you can click on the things or print it out. Here they even mention our FamilySearch.org program. So I would suggest that you try these different things out because everyone's situation is different. Now here is a very, very valuable thing, useful links. Now, you can read down and see what you need. And if you're beginning in Irish research, you may not know that Ireland and Northern Ireland are two different places, and they have different record office depositories, as you can see. What I'm going to show you right now is the National Archive of Ireland, because I'm going to show you two sites on here. I don't want to get too many to overdo it here, but let's go to the National Archives of Ireland. Now let's choose genealogy, and then let's go over here and choose genealogy records. Now this gives you another sub-list of all kinds of incredible records. And you can look at any of these, but I'm going to highlight Ireland, Australia Transportation Records 1791 to 1853. A lot of people think since their families are gone from Ireland that they went in the Irish famine times of the late 1840s and early 50s. But some of them actually were transported to Australia. Now, let's go down to the Ireland, Australia Transportation Database. Now, I'm going to look up, when it comes up, I'm going to look up my Patrick Murphy and see what he was up to. Okay, it gives me a little thing here, search. So I'm going to put in Patrick. Oops, I left a letter out of Patrick. Can't do that. Murphy. Okay, let's see what Patrick was up to. Unfortunately, there are 49 Patrick Murphys that were transported to Australia. Some of the charges are what would not seem serious. Some are more serious. I came down with this one. I just like the sheep stealing one. This gives the Patrick Murphy's name, his age. He's 19 years old. His trial took place in Galway, but he was imprisoned in Kilmainham Jail in Dublin. It gives the trial date, the document date, the crime, and then the transportation. He was to be transported for 10 years. Now, do check out these different people because as you see, there's different information and you can match it up with a baptism, birth, and sometimes death records too, of maybe his father or something. So these are very, very valuable. And many of the people outlived their transportation crime and they could go someplace else. Others died. So you check out each one to make sure that where your person went. Now, the last one I want to show you is the Bureau of Military History Records. This is the official site for the Defence Forces of Ireland, their military archives website. You have it in Gaelic or English. Since I'm an American, I will do English. Here you have online collections. So let's go back here. You have pension records, all kinds of history, different documents. And on one of these, I won't go into it because we're trying to stay general, I found that there were 4 Patrick Murphys in the Easter Rising of 1916 in Dublin. So there's just all kinds of information. And there's census records. So if any of your people were involved in the Irish military in the last 2 centuries, check in here. And there are a lot of photographs and all kinds of educational things. There's actually some classes you can take here. Now, let's go back to our list. This National Army Census is really important too, but there's deeds and land registry and all kinds of things that you can do. Now, in closing, I would like to say that it's wide open. You can find as many free sources as you're willing to look at, and they're just as good as the paid one. They're the same information, only they don't make a hole in your wallet. Now, I want to wish you the luck of the Irish and the best of success as you search for your beloved Irish relatives. I hope you enjoyed our 2-part special on Ireland, and I hope it's inspired you to go look for your Irish ancestors or your ancestors wherever they may be. This is Mary McEwen saying, until next time, may you be blessed.